The subject of today's video is a meaningful story to benefit and learn from the experiences of others. How working 14 hours a day ruined me. Lessons learned from incurring a $1 million loss. Please, don't forget to support us by subscribing and liking. Productivity and mental health are words you hear everyone speaking about nowadays. Unfortunately, in today's information age, productivity is misconstrued as being all the things it is not. If you are on Instagram or Facebook or any of the big, popular social media platforms, you will constantly see posts from people who have a voice to influence others about how to get productive and how one can achieve their goals. Let's take a few examples. My personal favorite is about how Elon Musk reads 2 books a day. So let's do the math. This is a guy who built PayPal, started Tesla, SolarCity, and SpaceX. He has 24 hours in a day where he needs to oversee and convert his businesses into money-making enterprises, sleep, be with family, eat, exercise and learn. How much time do you think he has on his hands to sit down and read 2 books in a day? Let's take it a step further, based on research by the very amazing Jim Quick. An average book has 64,000 words, and an average person can read 200 words a minute to absorb the information effectively. Which means you need 320 minutes to finish a book. Which means you need 740 minutes to finish 2 books. Reading is the best thing that one can do if it is out of the free will and not forced by some little person inside your head telling you if you do not read you do not win. But what plays on my mind is not whether reading 2 books a day is possible, but whether I am doing everything possible to make sure I achieve success. While these posts and blogs are all well-founded and well-intentioned, at least at their core, what ends up happening with anyone who is trying to bring about positive change in their lives is it ends up creating a dent in their brain which makes them machines, which ends up affecting their mental health. In the fuckery that ensues, entrepreneurs face burnout, anxiety, depression, and quite a few times death. And it happened to me. This is my story. I stopped having fun. I had absolutely no validation for the work I was doing and my confidence in myself went below zero. As an entrepreneur, I was consuming more content than I was creating. I started following accounts which spoke about motivation, success, entrepreneurship, goals. And I actually lost count of how many such accounts I had followed. It all started after trying to aim big and suffering a massive loss in my business. Losing the investors' money, and still being in a situation where I need to pay them back. The amount is near about $1 million. There was this sudden fear that had set in. I had to change. I needed to know what makes the Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerbergs of the world tick. I got into a mode where I started comparing myself to people who were miles ahead of me. The more I kept comparing, the more I kept pushing myself. I enrolled in seminars, speaker sessions, started following a ton of guys who could help me get guidance and started to a large extent aping what they were saying and professing. My day would start at 5 a.m. I would do it every day. I would pack up my schedule with stuff, just quantity over quality. Every breathing minute of my day had to be work. At least while I was awake. Cigarettes and black coffee were a mainstay during the day and cigarettes and alcohol were a mainstay after sunset. I was calling people, emailing, doing everything I possibly could. The aim was to grow my business. Until one day, eventually, I landed up at a doctor's clinic. I was fatigued, had a skin infection and the doctor told me surgery was the only way I could get rid of it. I didn't get the surgery. I confided in my doc, and told him I'm gonna try changing my lifestyle instead. He didn't agree, but no consent, no surgery. If I had gotten the surgery, I would have probably never learned the lesson I did. Now began the task of unhacking my brain, unlearning what I had lived for 3 years, constantly. And trust me, if you think learning is hard, try unlearning. I am still fighting my own demons, but in this entire process, I learned a few things I wish I had known before I put myself through that. I realized now I was getting a lot less done. I was speaking to 100 people trying to sell a service they didn't need, and in the bargain avoiding the things that would help me find that one client that would compensate for all the other 100. For example, if you work out 3 days a week, properly out of a free will, it will do you a world of good as compared to working out 7 days a week as a compulsion. People you love are more important than your work. When I went about my quest of making my work my life, I have been more distanced from my family than ever, and there are some friends who I used to meet every week whom I haven't met in a couple of years now. These people I now realize were an unbelievable part of me feeling good. My friends and my family saw me deteriorate into an angry and alcohol-addicted person who didn't have time for them, only a selfish drive to leave no stone unturned to make it. The harder you try, the more frustrated you get. Trying hard is like swimming upstream. In trying to get a lot done and getting where you want to go quicker, you actually end up pushing yourself further away from your goals. Why? Because there is no substance to the work. You are trying to do a million things at work and you end up staying in the same spot, and you get tired. Productivity becomes zero and it is more a force of habit. When you can't keep up, you get frustrated and mentally drained. Anxiety creeps in and you are caught between a rock and a hard place where your body is asking you to rest, but your mind is telling you you're an asshole for not being able to do what needed to be done. Rome was not built in a day. Everything takes its own time. Nothing you see around you was built in a day. Every overnight success which you read about has years of trial and error behind it. We tend to believe the virality of today's information flow would make us millionaires overnight. It will happen, but it takes time to build something disruptive. It takes time to build trust, and it takes time to build a reputation and a community of people who believe in you and trust you. Things happen because there is a cause that makes them happen. And everything we achieve in life has a cause associated with it. Life is driven by choices, and the choices we make today affect what happens tomorrow. I had chosen to live like a donkey in a sawmill, and that is what happened. I went around in circles and got nowhere, but I did work for 14 hours a day just to get back to where I started. I still do suffer from general anxiety and I am dealing with it. I still do smoke, but I am still here. I am grateful that I have 14 years of ups and downs behind me, which I have learned from. Learnings that I can use to make sure I never let myself go through that again. Learnings that I can use to make sure I can help anyone who is going through this right now. Just never give up. There is light at the end of every tunnel. Work hard. Work smart, but stop and smell the roses. Leave me a comment. We can just talk. We can help each other.
It sound right, boy.
Do you discover these words supportive? Might you want to add morale tips? Please add your remarks and tips underneath. Your subscription is our pleasure.